Hi, welcome to our live today. And today's topic is a bit, crucial in terms of when people ask me if their marriage is workable or not. Okay. Now, you might think that your marriage is not workable because when you come to a point, when you reach a point when, in spite of the best efforts that you're making, it doesn't work, you tend to conclude that it's not workable. When you conclude that, two things are happening. One thing that is happening is that uh, there is this feeling of poor me. I am the victim, I am the sufferer, and God had to do this to me. Why me? Okay, this is how it is destined. Okay, and then you start going to the astrologers, and whatever remedies they do, they tell you, you start doing that, nothing also that also doesn't work. So it's in your head that all right, it's not workable, and then you actually stop working towards it. And that's also one of the reasons why you stop approaching the right people to help you, not the families, not the friends, but the professionals. You stop approaching them because there is a belief that has got created that it is not workable. So one is that it is ego satisfying. Two is that there is a fear, or maybe you don't even know that if it works, what is life going to look like. You can't even think on those lines that if it works, because if it works, then how am I going to live life? So you are very connected to, you are very close to the suffering. You've become friend with the suffering. You may think that's not true. Who loves to suffer? Who likes to suffer? But we don't realize it. It is happening subconsciously, that your subconscious mind has got hooked to, used to the pain, the suffering that you're going through, so it does not want to leave. Okay, so one is the ego aspect of it, and one is that you're so connected to the pain that you don't want to get out of it. Okay, that's when you think it's not workable. I'll give you two examples, one from husband's perspective and one from wife's perspective, which will tell you which will give an idea of the circumstances under which it is not workable. Even then, if you think that these circumstances are matching yours, I will still say, uh, take the third person's advice, not somebody who knows you or who you know, but take the third person's advice to know if it is workable for you or not. Okay, now let me tell you this example from the wife's perspective where it was not workable. uh, Wife had joined the program. Okay, and theirs was a love marriage. She was a very, very die-hard fan of her husband, and husband also equally loved her. And she was working. She's still working. She was working. She had a government job in one city, and her husband had another job in his hometown. Okay, so initially that was a bit of a trouble, but then she was so much in love with him that she said that she's going to get herself transferred to the nearest place possible, and then they can manage. So they got married, and she got herself transferred to the nearest place nearest to his hometown, and her office was still 50 kilometers from his hometown. So she was commuting 50 kilometers one way in the morning, and she would commute 50 kilometers in the evening. Okay, 100 kilometers she was commuting, and she was spending quite a lot of time, energy, money in this commuting, but she didn't mind because she really loved her husband. Okay, as the program went by, husband also joined, and as the program went by, in this case, husband started to think, he started to you know uh, take her for granted, in terms of that she loves me so much that she has got her transfer done. She's commuting 100 kilometers every day for my sake, so then she's going to do everything for me. Her income was more than her husband's income, and husband was financially dependent on her to run the household. Okay, she did not bother, she did not you know uh, you know take all these factors so seriously, so she just let it be. There came a time when her husband was wanting her to, on one hand he wanted her to quit the job and stay there because his parents were getting old, so he really wanted help, so he wanted her to quit the job. At the same time, he also wanted that she should continue to financially support the family. Now for her, quitting the government job was a bit risky, and he wanted her to take up something, do something in ways that she can still financially support the family. He further was looking for, for his own expenses, like the car maintenance, like the phone maintenance. And she was supposed to give rental, the money, rental money to her father in law as well, because they were staying in their household. Now, these were too many of those demands which were placed on the wife, and she just kept on taking them, thinking that she really loves him. And there came a point in time when they were going in a car, and after, they had certain argument, husband opened the car door and pushed her out of the car and left for home. Her bag was left in the car. Walk down till the she had to walk down till the home. Okay. Now that was the moment she realized that, what am I doing? Giving in so much, that not just in terms of material aspects, but literally sacrificing her own self-esteem, her own self-worth, just to get that love from him. Okay. Now, if that is the scenario, and when they would get angry, get upset, and she had to go to her mother's house just to, spend some time there, he would stop connecting with her, he would stop interacting with her. And if he had to give her a message, he would give through a friend, he would block her on Facebook, block her on WhatsApp, because he literally wanted her to live the life that he so that he could have that 100% control on her, with no freedom for her, nothing whatsoever. Okay. Now in these cases, you got to be uh, assessing, what is it that you're doing, what is it that you want, how are you wanting it, what are you doing to want it, and if this is how it is going to be, do you really want to live that life where you are 100% in control of your spouse and your spouse's family? If that is it, then you got to think twice before you continue. Okay. Or if your husband is abusing you physically, then also that's a scenario where it is not going to work. If your husband is into some kind of an addiction and he's deep into it, he doesn't want to come out of it, then again you got to think in terms of whether you want to continue or not. You've got to be careful about it. That is from wife's perspective. Now from husband's perspective, I was working with another couple where I would normally see that, husband would work very hard towards, working on himself. But wife was making those efforts, but her efforts were not so forthcoming, but she was definitely making some efforts. And there came a point in time, when we were about to close, I asked the wife as to why her efforts were not wholehearted, they were not 100%. And I was quite surprised when she said that, because I want to see how much he does for me. Okay. And her terms and conditions, that point in time, she said, he was the only son of his parents, and she says he will have to conduct himself with his mother exactly the way I want him to do. He will need to conduct himself with his dad exactly the way I want him to do. He will visit his parents only at the frequency which I want him to go. His parents and I, we will not be staying in the same city. Forget same home, same house, but not staying in the same city. They will have to be going to their home village. Okay. The how many number of times we are going to be visiting them, I am going to decide. right? Now, it's not that wife did not suffer in the relationship. Both have suffered. Both have equally suffered. But when it came to working on it, there came the ego saying that I am going to work on it. I am going to work on myself also, if and only if these conditions are satisfied. If you look at it from a very objective perspective, this is something which is quite unfair to be demanding like this, right? Because there is always a scope wherein both can come to a ground where the discussion can happen. I'm not saying come to a ground where compromise can happen. I'm saying come to a ground where the discussion can happen. After that discussion, if it's a no no, it's a no no. Doesn't matter, right? So it is these kind of circumstances where you realize that these marriages are not workable, right? But then with women, what happens is, you and your husband may be looking like, to the world, you look like you're a great couple or you are a happy couple. People look at you and they think like that. But even, in a husband's perspective, how much and what are you going through, and the outside world is seeing you as a happy person. If that is the case, okay, then I would recommend that you got to come out of your own self and connect with a professional to see if it is workable or if it is not workable. If it is not workable, then also you will still need the help, so that you're able to build yourself up in ways that when you finally step out, you are not attracting the same negative emotions, you're not attracting the same situations, you're not attracting the same kind of a person that who you were with. So this client of mine, whose husband really was, wanting to dictate every bit to her, she did not quit our program. She continued, because through this she was able to evolve. Today she is pursuing the work that she always wanted to pursue. She wanted to work with children, and she has started her projects with children. She is so happy. She has been able to deal with the trauma of separation. She has evolved, right? Because she committed to becoming a better version of herself and not allow herself to suffer anymore in the hands of anybody. So even if your marriage is at a stage where it is not workable and you're just pushing yourself into it, I would suggest that stay there until you are completely evolved, completely as in you are evolved to a point where you don't get impacted by the negative situations. Okay? Where you can create the life you want, where you can find somebody who you really would want to live with. But before that, just stay there and take that help, where you can heal yourself, where you can know what it means to be in a relationship in very, very positive ways, so that both you and your partner can love each other, support each other, be with each other, and not complete each other, but share life with each other. Do all that healing while you're still there, and then if there is a need, you could be moving out. Okay, so that when you move out, you are just away from, you've dealt with those separation traumas, and you're moving out having healed yourself completely. Okay, so marriage will not be workable if there are egos, if there are, very, very stringent terms and conditions, where there is domestic violence, where there is abuse, physical abuse, where there is addiction. Okay, so these are the cases where marriages will not be workable. Now, if you want to find out if your marriage is workable or not, what I am doing is I am leaving the link to my appointment calendar here. All you can do is book your call, and I am going to be understanding from you in this call. What is it that you're going through? What are the kind of struggles you have? Ideally, what kind of life you would want to live, and what could be the way forward for you in terms of whether your marriage is workable or not. If yes, what's the next step forward for you? The link is there in the going to be there in this just below this video, and or above this video, wherever it is. If you're really interested to know if it is workable or not, book that call and I'm going to get in touch with you. All right. So I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow. And for any topics that you want me to cover, please write in the comment box and I will be taking it up tomorrow. Thank you. You take care and bye.